Driven to Win presents The Moon of Skulls by Robert E. Howard. Chapter 4, Dreams of Empire. Let's begin. For Rome was given to rule the world, and got of it little joy. But we shall enjoy the world, the whole, huge world, a toy. By Chesterton. Slowly, Kane drifted back from the dim realms where the unseen assailant's bludgeon had hurled him. Something hindered the motion of his hands, and there was a metallic clanking when he sought to raise them to his aching, throbbing head. He lay in utter darkness, but he could not determine whether this was absence of light or whether he was still blinded by the blow. He dazedly collected his scattered faculties and realized that he was lying on a damp stone floor, shackled by wrist and ankle, with heavy iron chains which were rough and rusty to the touch. How long he lay there, he never knew. The silence was broken only by the drumming pulse in his own aching head and the scamper and chattering of rats. At last, a red glow sprang up in the darkness and grew before his eyes. Framed in the grisly radiance rose the sinister and sardonic face of Nakari. Kane shook his head, striving to rid himself of the illusion. But the light grew, and as his eyes accustomed themselves to it, he saw that it emanated from a torch borne in the hand of the Queen. In the illumination he now saw that he lay in a small dank cell whose walls, ceiling, and floor were of stone. The heavy chains which held him captive were made fast to metal rings set deep in the wall. There was but one door, which was apparently of bronze. Nakari set the torch in a niche near the door, and coming forward, stood over her captive, gazing down at him in a manner rather mocking than mocking. "You are he who fought the men on the cliff. They said you fell into the abyss. Did they lie? Did you bribe them to lie? Or how did you escape? Are you a magician, and did you fly to the bottom of the chasm and then fly to my palace? Speak!" Kane remained silent. Nakari cursed. "Speak, or I will have your eyes torn out. I will cut your fingers off and burn your feet." She kicked him viciously, but Kane lay silent, his deep, somber eyes boring up into her face until the feral gleam faded from her eyes to be replaced by an avid interest and wonder. She seated herself on a stone bench, resting her elbows on her knees and her chin on her hands.
"I never saw a white man before," she said. "Are all white men like you? Bah, that cannot be. Most men are fools, black or white. I know most black men are fools, and white men are not gods as the river tribes say. They are only men. I, who know all the ancient mysteries, say they are only men. But white men have strange mysteries too, they tell me, the wanderers of the river tribes in Mara. They have war clubs that make a noise like thunder and kill afar off. That thing you held in your right hand, was that one of those clubs?" Kane permitted himself a grim smile. "Nakari, if you know all mysteries, how can I tell you aught that you know not already?" "How deep and cold and strange your eyes are," the Queen said, as if he had not spoken. "How strange your whole appearance is, and you have the bearing of a king. You do not fear me. I never met a man who neither loved nor feared me. You would never fear me, but you could learn to love me. Look at me, bold one. Am I not beautiful?" "You are beautiful, answered Kane. Nakari smiled, then frowned. The way you say that, it is no compliment. You hate me, do you not? As a man hates a serpent, Kane replied bluntly. Nakari's eyes blazed with almost insane fury. Her hands clenched until the long nails sank into the palms. Then, as quickly as her anger had arisen, it ebbed away. You had the heart of a king, she said calmly, else you would fear me. Are you a king in your land? I am only a landless wanderer. You might be a king here, Nakari said slowly. Kane laughed grimly. Do you offer me my life? I offer you more than that. Kane's eyes narrowed as the queen leaned toward him, vibrant with suppressed excitement. Kane, what is it that you want more than anything else in the world? To take the white girl you call Mara and go. Nakari sank back with an impatient exclamation. You cannot have her. She is the promised bride of the master. Even I could not save her, even if I wished. Forget her. I will help you forget her. Listen. Listen to the words of Nakari, Queen of Nagari. You say you are a landless man. I will make you a king. I will give you the world for a toy. No. Keep silent until I have finished. She rushed on, her words tumbling over each other in her eagerness. Her eyes blazed, her whole body quivered with dynamic intensity. I have talked to travelers, to captives and slaves, men from far countries. I know that this land of mountains and rivers and jungle is not all the world. There are far-off nations and cities, and kings and queens to be crushed and broken.
Nagari is fading, her might is crumbling, but a strong man beside her queen might build it up again, might restore all her vanishing glory. Listen, Kane, sit by me on the throne of Nagari. Send a fire to your people for the thunder clubs to arm my warriors. My nation is still lord of Central Africa. Together we will bend the conquered tribes, call back the days when the realm of ancient Nagari spanned the land from sea to sea. We will subjugate all the tribes of the river, the plain and the seashore, and instead of slaying them all, we will make one mighty army of them. And then, when all Africa is under our heel, we will sweep forth upon the world like a hungry lion to rend and tear and destroy. Solomon's brain reeled. Perhaps it was the woman's fierce magnetic personality, the dynamic power she instilled in her fiery words, but at the moment her wild plan seemed not at all wild and impossible. Lurid and chaotic visions flamed through the Puritan's brain. Europe, torn by civil and religious strife, divided against herself, betrayed by her rulers, tottering. Aye, Europe was in desperate straits now, and might prove an easy victim for some strong, savage race of conquerors. What man can say truthfully that in his heart there lurks not a yearning for power and conquest? For a moment, the devil sorely tempted Solomon. Then before his mind's eye rose the wistful, sad face of Marilyn Taffarel, and Solomon cursed, "Out on you, daughter of Satan, avaunt! Am I a beast of the forest to lead your black devils against mine own people? Nay, no beast ever did so. Begone. If you wished my friendship, set me free and let me go with a girl." Nakari leapt like a tiger cat to her feet, her eyes flaming now with passionate fury. A dagger gleamed in her hand, and she raised it high above Kane's breast with a feline scream of hate. A moment she hovered like a shadow of death above him. Then her arms sank and she laughed. Freedom? She will find her freedom when the moon of skulls leers down on the black altar. As for you, you shall rot in this dungeon. You are a fool. Africa's greatest queen has offered you her love and the empire of the world, and you revile her. You love this slave girl, perhaps? Until the moon of skulls, she is mine, and I leave you to think about this, that she shall be punished as I have punished her before,
hung up by her wrists, naked and whipped until she swoons." Nakari laughed as Kane tore savagely at his shackles. She crossed to the door, opened it, then hesitated and turned back for another word. "This is a foul place, bold one, and maybe you hate me the more for chaining you here. Maybe in the Kari's beautiful throne room, with wealth and luxury spread before you, you will look upon her with more favor. Very soon I shall send for you, but first I will leave you here a while to reflect. Remember, love Nakari, and the kingdom of the world is yours. Hate her. This cell is your realm." The bronze door clanged sullenly, but more hateful to the imprisoned Englishman was the venomous, silvery laugh of Nakari. Time passed slowly in the darkness. After what seemed a long time, the door opened again, this time to admit a huge warrior who brought food and a sort of thin wine. Kane ate and drank ravenously, and afterward slept. The strain of the last few days had worn him greatly, mentally and physically, but when he awoke, he felt fresh and strong.
Again the door opened, and two great black warriors entered. In the light of the torches they bore, Kane saw that they were giants, clad in loincloths and ostrich plume headgear, and bearing long spears in their hands. "Nakari wishes you to come to her, white man," was all they said, as they took off his shackles. He arose, exultant in even brief freedom, his keen brain working fiercely for a way of escape. Evidently the fame of his prowess had spread, for the two warriors showed great respect for him. They motioned him to precede them, and walked carefully behind him, the points of their spears boring into his back. Though they were 2-to-1 and he was unarmed, they were taking no chances. The gazes they directed at him were full of awe and suspicion. Down a long, dark corridor they went, his captors guiding him with light prods of their spears, up a narrow winding stair, down another passageway, up another stair, and then they emerged into the vast maze of gigantic pillars into which Kane had first come. As they started down this huge hall, Kane's eyes suddenly fell on a strange and fantastic picture painted on the wall ahead of him. His heart gave a sudden leap as he recognized it. It was some distance in front of him, and he edged imperceptibly toward the wall until he and his guards were walking along very close to it. Now he was almost abreast of the picture, and could even make out the mark his dagger had made upon it. The warriors following Kane were amazed to hear him gasp suddenly, like a man struck by a spear. He wavered in his stride and began clutching at the air for support. They eyed each other doubtfully and prodded him, but he cried out like a dying man and slowly crumpled to the floor, where he lay in a strange, unnatural position, one leg doubled back under him and one arm half supporting his lolling body. The guards looked at him fearfully. To all appearances he was dying, but there was no wound upon him. They threatened him with their spears, but he paid no heed. Then they lowered their weapons uncertainly, and one of them bent over him. Then it happened. The instant the black stooped forward, Kane came up like a steel spring released. His right fist followed his motion, curved up from the hip in a whistling half-circle, and crashed against the black giant's jaw. Delivered with all the power of arm and shoulder, propelled by the upthrust of the powerful legs as Kane straightened, the blow was like that of a slingshot. The guard slumped to the floor unconscious before his knees gave way. The other warrior plunged forward with a bellow, but as his victim fell, Kane twisted aside and his frantic head found the secret spring in the painting and pressed. All happened in the breath of a second. Quick as the warrior was, Kane was quicker, for he moved with the dynamic speed of a famished wolf. For an instant the falling body of the senseless black hindered the other warrior's thrust, and in that instant Kane felt the hidden door give way. From the corner of his eye he saw a long gleam of steel shooting for his heart. He twisted about and hurled himself against the door, vanishing through it, even as the stabbing spear slit the skin on his shoulder.
To the dazed and bewildered warrior standing there with weapon upraised for another thrust, it seemed as if his prisoner had simply vanished through a solid wall, for only a fantastic picture met his gaze, and this did not give to his efforts.
Thank you for watching today's episode. The next chapter will be uploaded tomorrow. Please like and subscribe to Driven to Win for more updates.